Thank you guys for tuning back in. Before the break, we introduced our friend and special guest, Ish, as well as played a fun Battle of the Sexes trivia game. We were just jamming out to that song. Which I actually wanted to point out, that song is really big and like popular on TikTok right now. But yesterday at work, we were listening to like a playlist, you know, like a Discover Hits kind of thing. And every other song on there was like a song from a TikTok video that I've seen that has gone viral. And it's just, it's so weird to me because it's like, I know all of these songs, but I don't actually know them. I know maybe 15 seconds of them.
You know the snippets
or like,
of them, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so, it gives you kind of like the weirdest sense of deja vu, you know? So that song right there that you played us back into from our break brought me there.
Yeah, I feel like that's what was happening for me because I was like, I know this song, but I don't know that song.
Exactly.
I've never heard that a day in my life.
All right, Shantae, you want to go ahead and introduce our next section?
Yay. So we are, So Ishmael actually has a project in a space called Studio 143 that he is working on. It's a nonprofit studio space and collective. Mission statement is a spot where we can make our content our way. We're excited to hear more about it. The last time that we talked to Ishmael about this project, it was still kind of in its infancy or ideation stage. And I think he has some really great updates for us. So let's talk about that a little bit, Ishmael.
Wait, really quickly. Sorry, before you ask that first question, I see that in your mission statement, a spot. What does the S.P.O.T stand for? And then go into that. I'm sorry. I was so curious.
Appreciate it. A spot, it is an acronym, S.P.O.T, Space Protecting Our Team. It's definitely paramount when it comes to being a creative or just existing these days. And we want to make a place that's not only conducive to creativity, but also safe, somewhere you feel comfortable going, and not even just safe with your ideas, safe with your person, your body, and also like kind of safe with just being able to be yourself the whole time while you're there.
Yeah. I love that. That's important, especially for creatives. So
absolutely.
All right, go ahead, Tay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I mean, it's an interview. So what inspired Studio 143? You know, as people who work in studio space and in podcasting, we definitely see that need for recording studio and event space. But why did you decide you wanted to be that person? And like, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I really appreciate it. That's a great question. I mean, for me, it really kind of is about, you know, just the entrepreneurial spirit. You know, if we're going and we're paying somebody to use their space, you know, couldn't we just have our own space? That's kind of was the initial. But actually my partner, Katerina, she actually presented the idea to me after watching me do, I think, 4 events that I think she had been to like one event. And I was just doing these charity events because honestly, I had just got laid off my job. I didn't know what else to do with my time. So I really went all in on the charity thing, started doing events where we're doing pretty big fundraisers. And then I was just using my friends or my acquaintances or people I met over the years kind of as the, you know, the entertainment, you know, and then as we're now started that relationship working together, I realized, okay, well, you know, this guy, you know, he's never really had a chance to do, you know, a live event kind of thing like that. Let's do some more stuff. And kind of ended up from there, a lot ended up happening, which kind of led me into where I'm at now, you know, working for myself, not only producing, but, you know, it's kind of crazy to think about, but I've been, you know, in the studio for some pretty amazing albums. I've helped with a lot of podcasts, you know, from getting them started to all the way to, you know, bringing in sponsorships and stuff like that. So it kind of was like a natural thing as I was kept going and building in what I was doing and my purpose. And then when Katerina brought the idea of like, yo, if we could have a creative space where, you know, people like me and you and people that are in the same stuff can kind of come and make our stuff, just think about how powerful that would be. And then once that happened about 2018. So a good 2 years ago. I think it was like January 2018, so almost 3 years ago.
Wow.
And yeah, and she really just messaged me and was like, hey, can we meet at this like space and I can present to you an idea? And I was just in a real open to anything moment.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, let's do it, you know, and then it kind of came from that. And then the name actually Studio 143, it was crazy because the space that we met at, which was basically a space that she was already using, that was a creative space, but wasn't really built out. It was kind of just like a leftover space from a retail space above that they were just letting people go down there and do art and dance down there.
Okay.
They're really built out with them in mind, and the address of it was actually like 143 7th Avenue, and 143 also stands for like the numeric I love you.
I love you. Yes.
I was so positive, and it was like so meant to be. Like, you know, when you see these signs and stuff like that, you know, we were trying to think of the idea. We looked at the address, we started talking, and we kind of came up with it from there.
I like
Very
that.
cool.
And you know what? That's easy to remember too. It's like, oh, where's it at? Oh, you know, it's 143 7th. Like,
Real easy.
yeah.
That's exactly what we were thinking. It's actually, we're actually not even using that address. Some things like fell apart, you know,
Gotcha.
negotiations with them. But we decided to keep the name and kind of keep the spirit of that. But it's crazy to think that, you know, 2 years ago we were negotiating for a space.
Right.
Kind of crazy where we are now, especially with like the COVID and everything as well.
Yeah.
And so we also wanted to ask you that, since, you know, you said you were in negotiations for that space, and like things are so different now, and how has COVID really affected like the progress of your timeline and of the project?
Yeah, I don't think it's really affected the timeline too negatively, but it has kind of allowed there to be quite a bit of flexibility. You know, everyone understands if we're not open, and also too, I've been talking with property owners since 2018, and the price is just going down right.
Yeah.
So it could be a thing where, you know, it's perfect timing. And early on, like Shantae said, we were really in the idea phase. We're trying to build out a solid idea, not only that could be monetarily like responsible, but also can provide that equity impact that we're really looking to engage in. So it just allowed us even more time to really get our ideas thought out and how we were going to address the problem of like equity and safe spaces for creatives going forward. And then, you know, now where we're at, which is really positive, we already have a couple partners. And basically what we're doing right now, we're kind of in a funding phase where we're trying to get as much funding as we can before we do lock in a space. And that, you know, what's powerful about that is that, you know, those that have been funding in, now they have input in what kind of space that we end up getting. And now it's even more made for them, you know, as they're going to use the space. So we have a lot of different options. We did incorporate as a nonprofit. So that kind of opens it up to more impact with the community and stuff like that. But we're really trying to have a community impacted grassroots idea. And I have a lot of background working with, you know, grassroots community. So I think it kind of works perfect.
That's very cool. I love to hear that. I feel like we asked that question a lot about how COVID's affected, you know, people's industry and their work life. And I kind of figured you would have like a positive, like it's allowed you time to really like flesh out that idea. And it's great to hear, because I kind of feel the same, where it's like, you know, COVID's definitely been a bittersweet type of deal where it's like allowed us so much time for us, like build out content and be creative. But it's also like, okay, in our regular days, it's like, well, it's kind of, you know, put people out of jobs and stuff like that. So it's nice to hear that variant perspective or experience. So like, who are you guys targeting for Studio 143? Like who do you hope will gravitate towards using that space? And what kind of marketing are you guys going to be doing to really put the word out about Studio 143? Like, who are you hoping just kind of comes in troves and builds this community around the space?
So what we're kind of looking for is like people that look like us, or people that we feel are not, you know, there's not something created with them in mind. So that's kind of going into the Black, Indigenous, person of color, and also women, and, you know, like transgender, cisgender, just kind of different, you know, non-binary people that, you know, might not feel comfortable walking into a bar and asking to, you know, present their music. They might get hit with a lot of questions, you know, what kind of music is, I don't know if this fits the idea or fits our bar vibe, kind of thing like that. Or even other places like Numos or Crocodile that do live music, you still gotta kind of prove a little bit that you provide something like that. So we wanted to kind of have another option where you didn't have to do that. And I know in my experience personally in throwing these events, you know, I've been in a suit and walked into, you know, a place and, you know, had paperwork and was ready to do an event for a charity. And they're still like, yo, you know, this is going to be a little bit too urban. We don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, on how urban can you be with it? You know what I mean? Like, so your presentation sometimes, so and I think that is kind of important. And also, if you really think about a lot what's going on with the gentrifying and everything that's going out, there's not really a lot of stuff that is like made for, us as people of color, or, that's with them as ownership, and is also, looking to interact with that community. And then the other part of your question was, how we're going to do kind of the advertising and how we're going to reach the community that we're looking to support. And I think it really starts with us right now. What we're doing is really building out a community. And then, from there, what we're hoping is have all kind of referrals. We're going to have all promote the people that are getting involved early on, investing early on. We do have quite a bit of investment opportunities, monetarily or your time or anything other options, as well as we are a nonprofit. But those people that invest early, now their networks are added in, and now we're going to be hoping to expand to their network and go out from there. And then as we really get solidified in the event space and we're bringing in consistent money, I have contacts and communication with the Seattle School District, and we're going to hope to kind of do some programs with them as well. That might not be for a year and a half as we really solidify what we're doing. But that's kind of where I'm thinking. Right. And then also too, I mean, you gotta look at the old adage, if you build it, they will come. Right now it's actually kind of crazy with ad spend. Right now you could spend more money on ad, and even though there's more people on the computer, on their cell phones, you're getting less return. People are just like not buying, so you're seeing ad spend kind of go, not in the tank, I wouldn't say, but if it's not super targeted, it gets really tough, specifically, because I feel like everybody's just kind of drained. It's almost like too much media, we're not even, we're kind of
right.
Point. So, and I've kind of gone that route as well. And there are some hurdles for, like people of color, Black people specifically, just putting out ads, they'll flag it for no reason and stuff like that. So that makes it tough. So I think going with this community, using this community kind of mindset, and basically, using the network that we have, then going into the network of the partners that we can provide value for, and then keep expanding from there, even creating an interconnected network between those two partners. So for example, say, you guys, which I definitely would love to talk to you guys about, but partnering with the studio space, maybe you guys use it once a week to record some, some extra stuff that you guys use or whatever. We would also love to have like a little ad going on with you guys, where you guys give us a shout out, maybe, once a month, and then vice versa. But then also you guys need more guests, we'll have a litany list of people that we've worked with and their different specifications that we can then, provide to you. And then on the other side, so say like artists are using our space or whatever, we're going to help them build out their portfolios, their sponsorship decks, and then be able to be like, hey, you know what? Hey, Jazz and Tay, that's a great platform for you to go on to, and get your new album out or something like that, and then we also got a couple other people in our network, you can use them, here's their pricing, and we have all that information right there, making it more of like a community hub.
I was gonna say, connecting people from all sides.
Definitely.
Love that. What services will you provide? Like, I know that you're talking about artists, and I'm hearing a little bit of like, podcast type of space, but like, are you also, you have a space for like, say, photographers if they want to like shoot or something like that?
That's a great question. And what we're hoping is to eventually move in where we have a audio studio where you can make a whole album on. Also have a photography studio where we can have like kind of different sets.
Yeah.
Have a video studio, which, you have green screen, you could produce a podcast or even just a YouTube video, or even gaming. I'm really into the gaming scene as well. And there's a lot of money in that. And I definitely want Black people and more Indigenous people involved with the gaming scene, because that's huge. We need to follow Travis Scott, man. We basically need to do what he's doing. He's
right.
So like, and then also in a space to have your events, whether that be, anniversary, book signing,
Love that. Yeah.
So right at first, I believe we will have the photography, the event space, and likely some equipment to do some kind of recording / engineering. And then we're going to just keep expanding that out. And also it's going to depend on who is involved. If, we ended up, we're hoping to launch around January and actually have the physical space and be able to really get going. Kind of depends on funding and involvement. But, say we have 20 people involved, 20 partners, that is, and 18 of them are podcasts. Well, then we're going to want to build out so that we have everything that a podcast need, or maybe the excess things that you guys need. You guys might need an extra mic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Shop as well for you to consign out that equipment or use that equipment, along with your rental fee for the space. So.
I love that.
Awesome.
That really is awesome. And that'll just help, it's like starting somewhere, and at least you've got like the podcast area built out, for example. And then it's like, cool, now we can focus on the other things. Like that is super cool. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you have anything else you want the people to know about Studio 143 before we hop into our next break?
I definitely want you guys to know that it is open and welcome for you to get involved, no matter who you are and no matter what involvement you have in production studio. If you like creativity, or if you just want to invest in something that's going to get involved with the community, Studio 143 is the place for you, and I would love for you to reach out.
Absolutely.
How can they reach out to you?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
You could check us out on Instagram, send us a DM. We also got a link there to our website, and that has a contact page on it as well. And our Instagram is at studio_143_primed.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ish.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I'm excited to see where it goes, to see the space, all of that.
I know. Excited to get all up in that space.